working. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this important conversation this evening. I am Antoinette Rogers, the new program director for the Delta Research and Educational Foundation, and I welcome you to our webinar this evening. In keeping with February as the Love Month, we've decided to use the theme, Love Yourself, Preserve Your Health. And we know that health is extremely important because if we don't have it, we can't be our maximum best to help our others and our loved ones. So tonight, we are going to focus on diabetes awareness and prevention. We want to love ourselves and preserve our health. And this webinar is collaboratively sponsored by the Delta Research and Educational Foundation and the American Pharmacists Association Foundation. We have an esteemed panel tonight that will give us not only medical expertise, but they will share their own stories of success in terms of changing their lifestyles to be healthy and sharing ways that they have prolonged their lives and their health by changing diet and exercising regularly. I will just give you an overview of our esteemed panel, and then I will introduce each one as we go through. And our first panelist tonight is Dr. Anjanette Wyatt. We also have Ms. Deborah Campbell. We have LaShawn Cook. And to round us out, we have Dr. Damian Covington. And tonight, we are going to hear medical perspectives as well as personal testimonies. And we are going to start with Dr. Anjanette Wyatt. Dr. Wyatt is a native of Texas, and she is a two-time graduate, a proud graduate of Texas Southern University. And she is a tireless advocate for public health. I was very impressed when I read her bio and talked with her. And in her quest to be the best advocate for public health, she was prompted to work with and open the clinical care pharmacy. Dr. Wyatt holds her Doctor of Pharmacy degree, and she is the president of the American Pharmacists Association Foundation. And she is the first Black woman president, I might add. Dr. Wyatt is also a board of directors member for DRAFT, the Delta Research and Educational Foundation, and she is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. Dr. Wyatt, we will start with you. Tell us a little bit about Project Impact and why you brought this to DRAFT, and why is this important for us?
Well, first of all, my family is heavily impacted by diabetes. And so I'm very passionate about diabetes as a disease state. My grandmother passed away with diabetes. My father passed away with diabetes. And I am the only sibling that does not have diabetes, but was pre-diabetic for quite some time and have struggled, just like many of African-American Americans in America that have struggled with pre-diabetes. So I know firsthand about the impact of diabetes on our community, on healthcare, and on just the overall health of communities of color, especially those with health disparities. So I have dedicated and committed my life to making sure that we do what we can on the American Pharmacists Association Foundation side, but also on the Delta research and educational side, because we do have access to some of those communities of color, especially the African American community, that we can impact.
Absolutely. And you do have a presentation to share with us.
Yes, I want to
share. So we're going to jump into that now.
Okay, if you could put it on present, thank you. So I want to share with the participants today information about the American Pharmacists Association Foundation. So next slide, please. The American Pharmacists Association Foundation, we're turning 70 years old this year, and our mission is to improve health by inspiring philanthropy, research, and innovation that advances pharmacist patient care services. Many people are unaware or that you see your pharmacist a lot more than you actually see your physician. Mm-hmm. So we want to be able to impact patient care services by impacting communities. So for sure, this is something that is our mission and that we strive every day to achieve. So the research and innovation that we have right now that's going on, this shows you how it comes to fruition. So our motto is do the right thing well. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Donabedian model, but that model is named after a physician, Avitas Donabedian, who was a physician and the founder of the study of quality of health, and he also focused on medical outcomes in communities. He also focused on research. So with his model, it's focused on aligning the incentive, improving the outcomes, and controlling the cost. So this is a spread of how we do our research and innovation from an idea all the way to a national implementation, which is what we have with Impact Diabetes. Next slide. So the impact part of the project, if you can go back one, it stands for Improving America's Communities Together.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to make sure that, everybody know what the impact means in that. Next slide. So let's talk about diabetes. Everyone knows how much diabetes has impacted Americans, and many of us on the line know firsthand from our families, but 30 million Americans have diabetes, and that's a large number. But even more concerning, 84 million Americans have prediabetes, and 9 out of 10 of these people that have prediabetes, they are unaware that they have diabetes. So that's where the prevention and awareness comes in. Next slide. So the National Diabetes Prevention Program is a program that Congress authorized for the CDC to establish in 2010. And the goal was to help participants make lifestyle behavioral changes, such as eating healthier, increasing the physical activities, and improving problem-solving skills to help prevent these individuals from having type 2 diabetes. The elements is like a year-long lifestyle change program that offer each participants a trained lifestyle coach. And you guys don't know, it really helps to have someone else holding you accountable for what you do in terms of preventing diabetes. And there's a CDC approved curriculum that's involved in it as well. So you have weekly sessions during months 1 to 6, and then there's a maintenance phase, and there's monthly sessions during that phase from months 7 to 12. And then you have group support over the course of 1 full year. So I think this is a phenomenal program that can really make a difference in diabetes prevention in communities of color. Next slide. So the impact of the National Diabetes Prevention Program was that the risk of developing type 2 diabetes was decreased by 58% after the Institutes of Health had studied people that were with prediabetes who took a part in the structured lifestyle change program. And that's a significant number. I mean, look at it, 58% of the patients cut the risk. So this is huge. And we really need to try to get this program out to those who need it most. So, and also it impacts the healthcare costs. A lot of times people don't know the comorbidities associated with diabetes is astronomical in cost to healthcare overall in America. So we really need to make sure that we're understanding all of the ramifications of not addressing prediabetes before it becomes type 2 diabetes. Next slide. So the opportunity to scale the national DPP to underserved communities is a project from the CDC called RFA DP17-1705. Next slide. And that's where American Pharmacists Association Foundation comes in, and with my presidency there and my directorship with the Delta Research and Educational Foundation. I've been a Delta for many years. I won't tell you how many, but many years. But I know that Delta reaches so many African-American ladies and their families, and we're so instrumental in the community. And it's a part of our 5, programmatic thrusts. And I thought, what a great way to pair American Pharmacists Association with Delta Research and Educational Foundation, and so that we can get this to the underserved community. This program has strategies, 5 strategies, in fact. Strategy 1 is to increase availability of CDC recognized organization in the underserved areas. So that means a lot of times you have the CDC recognized organization, but they are not in the underserved areas. Number two, increase clinician screening, detection, and referral of adults with prediabetes or at high risk for type 2 diabetes to the CDC recognized organization. So it's pairing them up, trying to get them together to optimize the availability of the program and have it in the community that it affects the most. Strategy 3, increase the awareness of prediabetes and enrollment in the lifestyle change program. Because if we have the program, that's great. But if no one's enrolling in that program, then that's not getting it out to the public. Strategy 4, increase retention rates for participants in their lifestyle change program. So we're not just trying to get them in right now, but also the retention, keeping them in for the full year. And then strategy 5, increasing the benefit coverage for participants in the lifestyle change program. So a lot of people don't have insurance or they don't have coverage. So this is a way to get them back on track, get them covered, and seeing their PCP or primary care physician regularly to monitor their prediabetes, their hemoglobin A1C levels, and all of the different lab values that you can look at, glucose and all that, to make sure they're on the right track. Next slide. Okay, you can go on to the next slide. This is just an overview. So the overview is, and we're proud, American Pharmacists Association Foundation, we're proud to say we're one of 10 CDC Cooperative Agreement awardees. So they only awarded 10 organizations with this agreement. So we're proud of that, and we're proud to partner with Delta Research and Educational Foundation. So initially the partnership, again, you remember the scale, started on the scale with just Kroger and then an organization TRHC. But as it grew, it went on to become a national program, starting in 5 states as a 5-year program that's now grown to a national 6-year initiative. So it includes in-person learning, distance learning, and online learning, and the utilization of the CDC approved prevention type 2 diabetes curriculum and resources. Now I'm going to stop here to tell you guys that I did enroll in the program because I was pre-diabetic, but I'm proud to say now, after losing weight and being in the program and being with my physician, I am now no longer pre-diabetic. So I am happy and proud that I am not pre-diabetic, and I don't fear every day, okay, I'm going to go into diabetes. We watch my hemoglobin A1C levels, and the lifestyle changes have made a huge difference in my numbers. Next slide.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very happy.
You are actually walking what you are inspiring others to do, and that's very important. Leading by example.
Absolutely.
You're inspiring me.
Well, good. I hope to inspire many people, many ladies, many families around the nation. So now the 6-year project that we're in the midst of right now includes, of course, the Delta Research and Educational Foundation. So the APHA also is proud of recently receiving an umbrella hub status designations from the CDC. This is a huge deal because now we can have even more programs and be an umbrella for the CDC. And this is also awarded to very few individuals in the nation. And we also have a CMS Medicare DPP supplier activity in one of the MAC regions, and that's the western part of the United States. So we're growing. We've really done really well this year with our research and innovation. I'm so proud of where we started and where we are now. And so I want to partner with more individuals that can get our initiatives into the communities of color, because I'm big on health disparities. We've got to get and talk more about health equity and health disparities. Next slide. So the delivery, which some of the participants later will talk to you about, it's a combination of in-person, face-to-face, individual and group sessions, distance learning, which is like telehealth program, and then online digital resources and apps. The key components of the program includes the utilization of CDC approved prevention curriculums and resources for type 2 diabetes, and participant interaction with trained lifestyle coaches who lead the program. What I like about the program are the videos and really step-by-step taking you through what you can do. And I know we know the exercise, we know that we shouldn't have what we have to eat, but a lot of times it's just hard when you're doing it alone. But when you have that other group of people there with you, or accountability from your life coach, then it makes a huge difference. And also the participants, they connect with a support group of people with similar goals and challenges. Just like I was saying, having that accountability and someone else in the group that's striving for the same goal that you are. Next slide. So I know we pressed for time. I don't want to go through too much. This just kind of reiterates what I was saying. This is an opportunity to change the landscape of how diabetes prevention program is delivered in communities across the country. Pharmacies provide omni-channel access as a point in the local communities, because with my pharmacy, that's why it's called clinical care. I wanted to bring the clinical aspect of healthcare along into the retail setting. And that was my reasoning for calling my company Clinical Care. So we do much more than just give you your prescriptions, give you your medicine. We actually get involved in your healthcare. And that is so that you can help with your own disease state management. So we have to take charge of our own healthcare. And that's a part of disease state management. And on the pharmacy level, utilize your pharmacist, everyone. Don't just go and get your medicine. Talk to your pharmacist. Ask for time with your pharmacist, because again, you see your pharmacist more than you do your doctor. So this initiative is a unique multimodal delivery model using teams and different styles of helping with prevention and awareness. And so the model emphasizes identified participants of preference. So your preference, you can choose which preference you like. If you like telehealth, or if you like team-based, if you like one-on-one, you can choose your model. So it supports the participants' success throughout the program because of the flexibility of the model. Next slide. So we use technology resources as well. And this is a great thing. It's powered by the APHA Foundation. So the in-person, the face-to-face, the distant learning, the online, we use all these different methodologies in bringing forth this initiative. And we integrate that framework in that system to bring you all the models that we provide. Next slide. So at this time, I'll take any questions about the project, but I just want to encourage everyone on the line. This is serious. Diabetes is a serious disease, and it causes so many comorbidities. And kidney damage, we see it all the time, kidney failure. The last thing you want is to be placed on dialysis because of your kidneys compromised because of diabetes. Heart issues are also things that affect diabetic patient. It's a plethora of comorbidities that can affect the patient. So if you're on the line, they're going to put the link up for you to join the program, and your family members can join the program as well. We're trying to get it out to as many people as possible. There is a qualifying process that you go through, but once you do that, then you can be a part of this program. And mind you, this program is a $600 program that you are getting for free, a $600 initiative that it will cost you if you were not going through the Project Impact Diabetes Prevention Program. So take advantage of that. Let your loved ones take advantage of that.
Wow.
If diabetes run in your family, then jump on board. Tell your churches, tell your minister to announce it in church, tell other community leaders in the community in which you live, or in communities that are of high risk, because the more we get this out there, the more people will sign up for it and the more lives we will save.
Very good. Thank you so much, Dr. Wyatt. As you were presenting, I jotted down some key words that I heard you say. And the first was information. And so I think programs like this need to be replicated so we can get the information out. And so we thank you for bringing this initiative to draft. The next word that I jotted down was access. Access to programs that help guide us, that give us the instruction and the support that we need. And tied with that support is another word that I jotted down, accountability. And you indicated that when people sign up for this program, they first have to qualify by completing a survey. And then once they qualify and they can join the program, they then are assigned a coach. Is that right?
Yes, they have a lifestyle coach.
Okay. And then they work with groups and others who can become accountability partners.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it. You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not trying to do this alone. So, I think that this is a great opportunity. Again, I was a part of the program. I've lost about 50 pounds. My numbers have totally.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I think that, I want to encourage others to make the lifestyle changes. Now, I don't even crave the food that I used to eat, because I used to tell my doctor, oh, I eat great. Oh, I'm conscious of what I eat. But now I'm looking back in retrospect, that's not, it's just as subconsciously we think we're doing great and we're not. So
Right.
it's been a great opportunity. And also those who are Deltas on the line, take this back to your chapter, take it to your chapter president so that it can be announced with your health and wellness committees and in your chapters, because we can also make sure that all Deltas in America be a part of the program.
Very good. Now, I must say, Dr. Wyatt, that after talking to you initially and doing my research to prepare for this webinar, I too took the survey and I qualified for participation in the program. And I have talked to some of the other participants and they have had great success. And I'll be frank, you all, I have packed on some pandemic pounds and I know I have to do better. I have to do better in terms of disrupting a sedentary lifestyle. And so I'm going to take this as a personal challenge to do better, to eat better, to get into exercise. And I'm going to count on everybody on this webinar to be my accountability partners. And so we have heard about this great program. It is a free program valued at $600. And so we at least owe it to ourselves to complete the survey to see if we qualify to participate. And speaking of participating, we have 2 successful Project Impact participants with us tonight. We have Deborah Campbell and we have LaShawn Cook, and we are going to have each of them share their success stories. And we're going to start with Deborah Key Campbell, who has a very interesting story about how she found out about Project Impact. And she is exuberant in sharing. And so I want you all to have the benefit of hearing her share as she shared with me when we spoke. So, Sora Campbell, please share your story.
Thank you, Sora Rogers. Yes, I came to know about this program by being a participant in the Atlanta convention in 2020. I attended virtually, and I attended a session for the draft session. And that's where I first heard about the program. And if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Wyatt and Dr. Covington were presenters at that event. Seeing some of those statistics, like 1 in 3 people have prediabetes, and many of us don't know it, really piques my curiosity about the program. And like I think Dr. Wyatt or either Sora Rogers said, I thought, well, I do pretty good. I think my diet's, pretty good. I'm, relatively active. But still, I thought it was worth taking the survey and seeing what the program was about. And I also shared it with one of my line sisters, and she decided that she was going to do the same. So we both were accepted into the program. We ended up being in the same support group, and we each have been successful in, sticking with the program. I am very enthusiastic, and I encourage those of you who are here today to really give strong consideration to taking the survey and joining the program if you can, because it really has made a big impact, a big difference in my life. And I think that it could do a lot for putting many of us on a trajectory to better health. So I don't know if you want me to talk about the program itself.
Oh, absolutely. Talk about your experience with the program and what things you did. I think folks are really looking for some practical tips and things that they can do to start on their wellness journeys.
Okay. Well, I started the program in May of 2022. The program and the group that I'm in, we have met totally virtually, but that worked out really well for me, and I think for the other members of our group. As Dr. Wyatt explained, we met weekly for the first 6 months, and then I am now in the meeting every month phase. And I'll have to tell you that my group joined another group, and one of the groups that joined together, LaShawn, she's here, and so our groups got together. We meet together once a month, and we're always complaining, oh, we'd rather meet every week, because we have we have become so dependent on each other, and just cheering one another on in our successes. The coach that we have, we shared the same coach, and the coach that we have, she is really fantastic. She's actually a nurse by trade, and her passion is to help people prevent health problems as opposed to treating people who are sick. She's very encouraging, and like Dr. Wyatt explained, when you're in the program and you first start, and I had lots of excuses and lots of reasons, that things were not going to work for me and whatever, but in her own gentle way, she is a very gentle coach. I'm not sure, I've never had a lifestyle coach before, so I'm not sure if that's the way coaches do it or not, but she had a very gentle way of sharing with us that, well, some of these inconveniences that you may think are inconveniences or challenges that you're facing, they are nothing compared to the challenges, the money, and the inconvenience you will suffer if you lose your health, if you have to be on insulin, or those kinds of things that diabetes brings about in a person's life. So great tips about food choices. I'll just tell you, if you join the program, the initial goal is to lose 5 to 7% of your body weight. And but it goes in segments. So then you find out, okay, we want you to be active at least 150 minutes a week. And so they give you ways that you can get activity in, and make suggestions about how you can improve, maybe if you have a sedentary lifestyle, how you can improve that. So it has just been very beneficial to me. I have reached my 5 to 7% goal. And as a matter of fact, earlier this month, I reached a 14% weight loss goal. So now I'm just trying to maintain that and maintain my activities, and some of the cravings that I once had have subsided. So it has been a terrific program, and I encourage you all to consider it.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for sharing, Sora Campbell. So I have a few questions from the audience, and then I have a question as well. So maybe you can start if both of you, Dr. Wyatt and Sora Campbell, will share some of the types of activities that you did, or maybe some of the food substitutions or things that you did on a dietary level that really helped you, resist those cravings and urges to eat. Because I know I have a sweet tooth, and
Yeah.
that is my
Me too.
downfall. So what kinds of things do you do to make healthy substitutions? And
Reading
what
food,
kinds of exercises?
reading the food labels, that's very
Yes.
important. You
Yeah.
have to read the food labels because we pick up things that we think are great just because it's say, organic or, a little bit. It doesn't matter what it says on the packaging. You have to actually look for yourself on those food labels. One of the things that you have to stay away from and look for the carbohydrate. You don't want anything double digits. So you have to look to see how many carbohydrates, and empty calories like soda and
Yeah.
of that nature. You stay away from that. Right now, I only drink water and water with Crystal Light in it, and stay away from
Okay.
all the other, no juice, no soda, anything like that, because it adds a lot to the number of sugar and carbs in your body. And that's the biggest culprit. Now, can you, at Christmas or special occasions have some things? Sure. But if we're doing that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, it adds up very quickly, especially if we're not reading the labels.
Okay.
Yes, I'd like to add to that as far as my activity. So I have like 3 go-tos. One is Girl Trek. Anybody in
Okay.
my group knows that I'm avid about Girl Trek and, getting out and walking. So that has been one of my tools that I've used. It's a podcast, and they talk about Black history, and they are encouraging Black women and girls to get out and walk and save our own lives. So very similar to, what we're doing here with Impact Diabetes.
Right.
The other is I'm a jazzerciser, so I really like doing that. And then also there is a free video fitness person. His name is Paul Eugene, and you can see him on YouTube. And he specializes in baby boomers and senior citizens. So, if you're new to activity, that's a really great one, because his exercises are, I would say, on the moderate side. So those have been some things for me. And then other tools that were very helpful to me as far as eating is called MyFitnessPal. But during your sessions, your coach will share with you all kinds of options, and then you can see what works best for you. So MyFitnessPal worked really well for me. It lets you track your food. At first I was resistant, I don't have time to do that. And, I don't have the behavior pattern, the habit to do it, but now I am really in the habit of, recording on my FitnessPal app what I'm eating, and I can see, that what kind of calories I'm taking in. And then that really does make you more aware. And sometimes you'll decide, well, I would rather have water so that I can have maybe something else that has calories, but will be more satisfying than, whatever it is that I might drink. So those are some of the things that have been helpful to me.
Okay, very good. So we have a few more questions, and one is this program, or could this program be helpful with people who wish to manage cholesterol issues?
So
For folks who have high cholesterol.
I think so, because the program, I don't think focuses on that really. It really is focusing on diabetes, but, cholesterol is probably caused by, food, as well as, I'm sure increasing activity would help lower your cholesterol. So, you know, just overall in general, good health. I think the program is very beneficial for
Okay.
that. But maybe Dr. Wyatt, you could speak.
Yeah,
to
I
that.
agree. I agree with that. The comorbidities that, come along with diabetes include hypercholesterolemia, which, is a part of your diet and how you're eating, exercise, weight, and all of that. So for sure.
Okay. Now, there's a question here, and you mentioned, Deborah, that you drink a lot of water. And Dr. Wyatt mentioned that as well. I have a question here from someone who says, is orange juice okay?
Dr.
No.
Wyatt.
No, it's not.
Never-
You need to look
I'm
at
sorry,
the sugar.
orange juice is never okay. There's way too
Never
much
okay.
sugar. As a matter of fact, no juice is okay. No juices because of the added sugar. Look on the label and you'll see, and nothing like with high fructose corn syrup.
Right.
Stay away from that for sure. Anything when you look on it, if it has more than a double digit, you want to stay in a single digit in terms of the number of carbohydrate. Juice is always going to be a double digit for an 8-ounce glass.
Okay. Now, I have a question for a viewer who wants to know, for people who did not qualify, they've taken the survey, but they did not qualify for participation. Is there an alternative? Is there some other program, or is there some structured assistance that they can receive to make changes in their lives?
Well, I can double check on that. I don't know of a program other than this program, but there's something that we can check, I can check on, but you may not qualify at the time. Go back and try it again. And because the qualifying factors could have changed for you, so you do have to qualify in terms of your pre-diabetes. So one of the qualifying factors is that you be pre-diabetic, and that is going to be determined by your lab value for your hemoglobin A1C, and then some of the questions that they ask you determine whether you are pre-diabetic or not. Everyone, when you go to the doctor and you get blood work, always ask them to do a hemoglobin A1C on you. They don't always do that in regular blood work, like Kim7, that's the name of the blood work. But when you go and your doctor sends you to the lab, ask the doctor to check on the lab instructions to check your hemoglobin A1C. And that's a blood level that tells how your glucose has been over time. So it's about a 3-month window. When you go in and get just the blood work and they check your glucose, that's only for that moment. What was your glucose that moment? But what you want to know is, how have I been doing over the last several months? So that hemoglobin A1C will give that number. And like for me, if you're over 6.4, you're diabetic. And between 5.6 and 6.4, you're pre-diabetic. So when that number comes back, if you're between in that window, you're pre-diabetic. If you're over that last mark, which is 6.4, you're then diabetic. So I was at 6.3999. So,
Wow,
basically now I got my blood checked about a month ago and it was 5.6. So now I'm back down toward the non-diabetic, non-pre-diabetic. But for me, that is the key thing that people need to do. Know your numbers, know what your cholesterol is, know what your hemoglobin A1C. And if you guys can write that down, because when you go to the doctor, you go powered with knowledge. Can you check my hemoglobin A1C? And you see if that level is high, normal, or in the diabetic range.
Okay, very
Well,
good information.
Can I just add something? And LaShawn, you can.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to introduce LaShawn and bring her on now.
But I just want, because we have the same coach, I just want to see if she feels the same. We're saying, oh no, you can't do, and all of that. But really, our coach, I'll just say that she just never really said that you cannot do or you cannot eat whatever. She just provided the information And then, you can make your decisions, you can make informed decisions versus things that we think we know. And so eventually, these are kinds of things that we really have all decided for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so it's not really as cut and dry as we may be thinking it, as we may be saying it is now, because, now we've been in the program for, more than 6 months. So.
Wow. And congratulations for that maintenance and the longevity. That's wonderful. So let me ask you this. How often did your group meet initially? You indicated that you are now down to once a month. And was it weekly?
Yes.
It was weekly.
It was weekly.
Okay. And I don't know if you all are able to answer this. Oh, it is for an hour. And that was one of the questions from our audience. When or what days does it vary by coach and by group in terms of your days?
You get to pick the day.
Okay,
you get to pick your day.
Yes.
So folks who are interested in joining the program, you are able to pick your day once you qualify, and you can pick your day and time and meet with your coach. Now, I do have a question here about whether or not Project Impact is suitable for children, and if so, what ages?
The project is not intended for children at this time, but I will also check with Benjamin Bloom is our executive director, and he is over the research and innovation. So some of the questions that you have, like about the children right now, I know that children are not allowed in the program, it's for adults, but I can go and find out what programs can be available for children, and then I'll give that information to Sarah Rogers to send to the participants.
Okay. Very good. So we're going to hear from our second Project Impact participant, LaShawn Cook. And LaShawn is the donor management finance assistant at DREF. And she is a native of Washington, D.C. and a graduate of McKinley High School, having attended both Howard University and Trinity College. LaShawn has a busy lifestyle. She is a mother of 3 grown children. And in addition to her job at DREF, she is a baker and a caterer. Now, please tell me how you have managed to make such strides. I see dedication, and I also realize that takes a lot of discipline. So LaShawn Cook, tell us your story as a successful Project Impact participant.
Well, once I have to say, do you guys see my face on that picture? It was huge, and that was just in March. But anyway, so starting Project Impact, I have to say, unlike my other participant, it was hard for me. Meeting every week, trying to be consistent, trying to get on. But I tell you, it was the best thing I've ever done for myself in a long time. Just to have those women and just to cheer me on just for the little successes. And trust me, no, I didn't get out and do all the exercising and everybody, I just walked. I might, I'll get up from my desk and I just walk. But I saw the weight. I don't know if you all can see it from that picture. That picture was in March, but my face, I feel better, in my clothes, I am sharp. At first I just thought I have to take Prevagen. I got to get something because I have this brain fog all day, but I don't have that anymore. And I also take care of my mom, and she's 92. And before, her food, she was eating where she was before. They was just fixing all this fast food. But now since I cook, she's even, she's changed, and her thinking, she's just as sharp as, we can have conversations without her going into and getting confused or anything like that. But within the program, we met once a week, and with my life coach, my challenges was I still had my cravings. I still wanted what I wanted. But what she showed me and how. She told me, it's like, I can eat the things that I want, but I have to look at the ingredients. I need to shop at different, I shop differently. I don't go in the middle of the aisle anymore. I would, shop the vegetables and the fruits and stuff. And you can make your stuff. Stop buying fast food, stop buying processed foods, stop doing all that. If you want, LaShawn, if you want that fried chicken, cook it, but cook it this way. If you want something sweet, make it yourself and make it this way. She sent us nice recipes when we was having these cravings and we just wanted something salty. Or she taught us how to eat what we want to eat, because we know the cravings are going to be there. They're not just going to go away because you decided, oh, I want to live better, I want to do better. They're there. So she made it real for me. She made it so that it was just so easy that I didn't have to think about it. And that, yeah, the healthy food costs a lot more than me just going and shopping and buying all the prepackaged stuff. But the way I feel now, I'm sorry, I'm getting so teary, but the way I feel now, I did not know, or of course I knew, but I wanted to be, I had a big birthday coming up, I was turning 50 and I was like, oh, I have to get into this dress. I have to do this. That was my goal then. Okay, that passed, but my goal now is to make sure that I don't live the next 50, because I'm gonna be the next 50. Like it was a party. You can celebrate yourself once in a while, but you shouldn't eat like every day is a vacation or a party. Saying you have to feed yourself, but make sure you think about and caring about yourself when you do so.
Wow.
And that, just the little tips that and you have to have a life coach. I know we had the best one. We did, I think. But she, even when I had struggles, not on our meeting day or something that I just struggled with, I could text her and she will answer me and was like, okay, let's try to do this or go this place. And, she was just there. And even my, the women in the group, I can text some of them, hey, is anybody in DC right now? We can go walking. And we did. We met up, we went walking. But just to have that partner, I didn't have anybody to come in with me to keep me accountable, but the women that I met while I was in the group, and just I miss seeing them every week now. It's really, it's hard to go once a month. This is hard once a month. But first it was hard once a week. Like, I don't feel like going this. And this, the curriculum, you read before the class, you have to read the curriculum. And then when you get in front of your life coach, she makes it make sense to you. So they just don't give you information. They have somebody there to help you through, to navigate through this whole program. And that's one thing that clicked for me.
Very good. So I want to ask you, LaShawn, I mentioned that you are a baker and a caterer, and now that you have successfully participated in Project Impact for a year now, or just about a year, has that changed the way you bake and the way you prepare foods? Are you more cognizant of the ingredients that you use or the portions?
Well, I have always cooked. So when you grill, it's mainly grilling and smoking. So we do a lot of grilled and smoked foods.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
I've always, but the cupcakes, trust me, no, they still full of all the love. They still full of all the love. But what I do now is that now I have an option for somebody who don't want, I will substitute with the monk fruit sugar, or just substitute with applesauce or something. So I've learned to bake when it's moist, it's good, it's without having all the the other oils and things of that nature in it. And one thing I learned from the group, which I'm still kind of like, you can't really heat up olive oil. I never knew that.
Yeah,
That still blew my
the
mind.
point at which the point at which it breaks down over heat is
I
very low,
know.
so you can't. Yeah, and I'm an olive oil person as well, but I learned that in cooking, and I'm kind of on the fence. I will admit, I'm one of these people who wants to do better, but I'm a foodie and I love to eat. So you all pray for me as I begin this
But you
journey.
could do that. Trust me. Me too. I definitely feel you in that. But you can love to eat, but you can love to eat. And then you're taught how to eat, like what make, eat your fiber and eat your protein and, save the carbs for last. You might not even want it by that time. But, it's just those little helpful tips that can help you succeed. And then
Okay.
even if you have struggles, there's somebody there too struggling. So you're not struggling alone. You're hearing, how they struggle and how they get over these struggles.
So we have a question about air frying, and I will admit I am an air fryer. Is that a viable option?
I don't know who's gonna take that one.
Anybody can jump in, and we're going to hear from Dr. Covington now, but anybody can jump in terms of the value of air fried foods.
That was one of the things that our coach talked about. When you want, maybe when LaShawn was talking about the fried chicken, in our course, she maybe would suggest taking a look at, air frying it. So yes, that is a viable option.
Okay, very good. So now we are going to hear from Dr. Damian Covington. Dr. Covington is a board-certified family practitioner with Dominion Medical Associates in Richmond, Virginia. And he is a native of the Anacostia neighborhood of Washington, D.C. And he chose the medical field because he wanted to make a difference. And I will say, in full disclosure, Damian and I have known each other for more than 30 years. He is also a proud alumnus of the Hampton University. And he has completed his residency at Hanover Family Physicians in Virginia, and his year-long internship was at the Medical College of Virginia, and he completed his medical degree from Wake Forest University. So Dr. Damian L. Covington, DC, from DC, give us your take and tell us from a medical perspective, what are the kinds of things you encounter on a day-to-day basis? And you all, this discussion is so rich, so I can tell you now, we're going to go a little bit over. So for those who can stay on with us, please do. But we want to make sure that we disseminate this important information. This is too much to just run over quickly. We want to make sure that we empower folks. So Dr. Covington.
Well, thank you, Antoinette. And I want to say to Dr. Wyatt and the two other participants, it's been great to hear your story. I was interviewed about 2 days ago. A high school student wanted to interview, and they just talked about, he was doing a project on economics and the impact of healthcare on the global economics. And he asked the question about the healthcare system here. What did I think? And, my response was that the healthcare system, unfortunately, is reactionary as opposed to proactive. And it's just great to hear that how proactive this program is. And so I'm so impressed that I'm telling you, I really want to use, and if possible, I would like to use this program in my clinic, because it is what's needed in healthcare, right? And so I appreciate being invited by my classmate, Dr. Rogers, and I've been very impressed with Ms. Cook, Ms. Campbell, and Dr. Wyatt, because this is what actually healthcare is needed, right? and on the prevention side, so being proactive. So thank you. So real quick, I just want to just add a little clinical in terms of, we've been using, a lot of terms like prediabetes. What is prediabetes? And usually, as you know, you have a organ, the pancreas actually produces insulin, and what insulin does, it allows your cells to let sugar in, which you use for energy, right? And so if your cells, the insulin then may become unresponsive to the cells. And this is the evolution of pre-diabetes to diabetes. And then if they're not responding to the cells, they're then just staying in the bloodstream, and it just starts the pancreas overworks, and then you start having a problem, right? And so there isn't necessarily Dr. White appropriately discussed A1C. And of course, that's something that you get when you see the doctor. But there are a couple of other risk factors that I think we just need to touch on. And I think the panel has touched on them. And one is actually being overweight, right? And so that's defined as body mass index. And I'm quite sure these are things that are accessible on the web. But usually anything above, I usually say 27 to 28. I think when you look at some publications, it's 25, but they are really swayed towards other communities, right? And so I really like the number 27 to 28. So being overweight, being a little older, being a little mature, say around 45 or more, puts you at a little higher risk. Also, any first degree relatives, parents and or siblings that have diabetes puts you at risk. If you're not active at least 3 times a week, that actually puts you at risk. If you had, when you've had your children, if you had gestational diabetes, that also puts you at risk. And also polycystic ovarian disease also puts you at risk. So I just wanted to share that, as we have this very rich dialogue. And so as it relates to, I actually have a primary care practice in Richmond, Virginia. It is in the city, a area called Church Hill. I really feel at home here because it reminds me of Anacostia, right? It is very rich in history. It has our community. And it is a pleasure to work in that community. And so a lot of what you all discuss, we deal with every day. And I really like the issue, this program. I'm really excited that something like this exists, and I would like to use it as a tool for a lot of my patients, because one thing, when you only have, and I think Dr. Wyatt spoke on this, you only have a certain amount of time, with your patients. And we as physicians, we know a lot of medicine, we know a lot of clinicals. But one thing, at least when I trained, and I'm a date myself, I came out of med school in the late 90s. We didn't have an awful lot of information from a nutritional standpoint. And so we use nutritionists. A lot of times insurances don't pay for it, and it's a hurdle. And so this is what I mean in terms of being reactive instead of proactive. So I really excited about this program. I hope your listeners and your esteemed sorority take advantage of it. And I think it's something that, as a clinician that's been practicing for over about 20 years, is something that I can use, because prevention is the key, and prevention is what excites me. And this is what got me into medicine. One quick story about diabetes and the importance. I had an uncle, my Uncle Mitch. He was a lawyer in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And the thing about diabetes, and I was a young man when he passed, the thing about diabetes I saw, and he was very vibrant. He despite his handicaps, he still went and practiced law. But I saw diabetes take his vision. I saw diabetes take his legs. I saw diabetes take his kidneys. And I really saw diabetes eventually just take his soul, right? And as a young person whose family has roots in the South, it was all about his habits. You know, Uncle Mitch was the biggest one in the house, and he loved food, and he never ate leftovers. So my aunt Bernice, who was a member of your esteemed sorority, and my cousin Annette, his daughter, who may be on the call, who's also a member of your sorority, always had to cook him something, right? And but it actually ate him alive, and it was something that touched me. He was able to in his wheelchair to come to my graduation, but it was something that touched me to say, listen, if I can avoid one person, prevent one person from experiencing this, right? Then I've accomplished something. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. I did see one question on the webinar chat, and it was about metformin.
Mhm.
And I would say that I've been practicing for over 20 years. It is never had, in my primary patient population is African American, never had any problems, and it is still a valuable tool in the treatment of diabetes, and it's one of the medicines that we actually sometimes use in pre-diabetes.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Covington. We do have a few more questions, and this is one about men in particular. And I'm glad we have you here, Dr. Covington, to represent, but Dr. Wyatt, is Project Impact open to men as well?
Yes, it is. It's open to men and women.
Okay,
So-
very good. So there was a question here, can men in our family join or screen for eligibility? So that is good to know. So for the person who posed that question, we want you to tell everyone in your family, men and women, about Project Impact, and we will provide the link for you so that you can complete the survey to see if you qualify. And
as
certainly,
as you know, men, we need help, and we need as many folks holding our hands as possible. So that's is exciting that this program is extended to anyone in the community.
absolutely. Now, as we are closing, I told you this hour has gone by so quickly, you all, and this is just such rich information. And I feel like I'm really sitting in my living room talking to friends. They're just very well-informed, educated friends who have a plethora of knowledge that is going to empower all of us. So we thank you for this information. As we close out, do you have any parting words or advice for our viewers today?
I do.
And I will give you each an opportunity, okay?
This is Dr. Wyatt, and I just want to say your health is your wealth. Your health is your future. Take it seriously and be a part of the solution for your health care. So participate in your health care. And what I mean by that is manage your disease states along with your health care providers, your doctor and your pharmacist, your nurse. So be a part of that process. Ask questions. Get a copy of your labs. I know now we have the technology that you can pull it up, but look at those labs and see, because that's going to tell you how your body is functioning. I always make an analogy to a car. You take your car in to find out what's wrong in it so it can keep going. And that's the same with your body. You need to know what's going on in your body to keep it going for many, many years to come. So that's my.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I would add, Dr. Wyatt, you took one of my analogies I use a lot with cars and getting and help and getting your tune-ups and your oil change. But I would add to what was said that I would dare say your most precious commodity is your health. And I always vacillate between your faith and your health. And because I really, if either one were taken, and particularly your health, it'll be hard to really enjoy and have a quality life. So, you know, I recommend that you invest into your health, as Dr. Wyatt says, and of course your faith. And I think in that investment, you will get more in your return, and be very proactive in that react.
Okay, very good. So thank you all. I want to encourage all of our viewers to give us some feedback. If this has been a helpful webinar for you, please let us know. And if you have ideas or things that you would like to see covered in the future, let us know that as well. We will have additional information on Project Impact on the DREF website, and that information will be provided on screen for you and in the chat. And we also encourage you to follow us on social media. The Delta Research and Educational Foundation is on Facebook, and we can use that platform to give you some follow-up from this webinar and to stay in touch. We do encourage you to complete the evaluation, and the link is provided for you. And if you have any questions for our panelists, I'm sure they will be glad to follow up with you, and you can just contact them through us at DREF, and we will be glad to make the connection. Thank you so much for being here. I must thank some very important people who helped make this webinar possible. I must first thank Deborah Peaks Coleman, the immediate past program director for DREF. She is my predecessor and a mentor and a tremendous help. I must also thank my program associate, Tashi Brown, who has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure this webinar has gone well as our office manager at DREF, Miss Imani Drew. And of course, to our panelists, thank you for sharing your valuable insight, for your candor, and for your encouragement and inspiration. You all have really encouraged me to contact my Project Impact coach and to get moving.
Yes.
And to you, our viewers, I hope you have been inspired as well. Thank you for taking your time to join us this evening. We will see you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
the opportunity to share.
God bless.
Thank you all so very much. Wonderful. There are some questions, so we have a few questions. Let's see if we can answer some questions as we log off, and if we can follow up with folks. And we'll just take a few minutes. It says, if someone is pre-diabetic, can diet and exercise help them reduce or eliminate prescriptions for pre-diabetics? And I believe we said that, yes, that is very possible, that exercise and lifestyle changes and diet can prevent and or reverse pre-diabetes.
And just to add to that, the medicines
Correct.
that I was taking prior to it, I don't take any of those medicines anymore. So I don't have.
Wow. Okay, now we do have another question from our esteemed executive director of DREF. Will this program be extended once again, Dr. Wyatt? I think we have some interest. So if we can make that happen, I think DREF can support that.
Absolutely. It's a 6-year initiative, and I think it was just reinstated by the CDC. So of course we can continue the partnership, and because we're not done yet. We have a lot of work to do. So of course we will extend the program.
Oh, wow. Yes, I see several people asking about extension and participating in the program. So that is great to hear. I do have a question about injections such as Ozempic. Someone is asking about that and the effectiveness or the appropriateness of that.
Yeah. And that, so it's one of the newer medicines I think that there are, and is actually used in the treatment of diabetes. And it's also shown to also help lose weight. And so it is a medicine that you should definitely talk to your doctor. And it's a relatively new class that is showing a lot of promise, and particularly as it relates to assisting in losing weight, as it also manages your diabetes.
And
Ozempic was one of the
Soror
medications.
Rogers. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry. So, Ozempic was one of the medications that I began to take, but prior to actually started the program and losing the weight, and it really helped me jumpstart the weight loss process. So I think that I had good experiences with Ozempic, but again, you need to speak with your doctor and about it. And for prediabetes, I am in support of Ozempic. It does have some side effects that you need to be aware of. There is a black box warning on it, so make sure you are aware of all the possible side effects and adverse effects. But I did have positive results with Ozempic when I utilized it. So.
And I would also add that sometimes it's a challenge to get insurances to cover. And so, but if you're able to get through those hurdles, I think that it's shown some great promise, as you said, Dr. White. But I tell you, it's an expensive drug if it's not covered. So.
It's very expensive, about $1,000 per.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Per box, but yeah, without insurance. But I do want to say this is something you can discuss again, like Dr. Covington said, with your physician. It is hard to find also because it has the weight loss component. A lot of it's been prescribed for off-label use to non-pre-diabetic patients for just the weight loss.
Yeah, it is.
Difficult to find.
Wow. Okay.
There's a comment. Andrea Campbell has her hand raised.
Yes, I am looking. I do not see her question. I am trying to see if I can locate
Okay.
Ms. Campbell so we can make sure we answer her question so that we don't leave anyone uncertain or unsure. If you are here, let's see if I can identify or find her question. I don't see her. Let me see if I can unmute her or at least find her or have her type her question in. And while we are doing that, we could really go on and talk for hours. I know that the time is late and we're running over just a little bit, but you mentioned the cost of medications, and that was one of the things that I had also jotted down in terms of the cost of insulin and the recent discussions over the last few years regarding the inflated price of insulin and how drug companies really control that as a moneymaker. And so that is almost a separate conversation in itself. But does anyone have anything quickly they want to share on that?
Well, there's go ahead, Dr. Covington.
Yeah, I'm quite sure Dr. Wyatt has a perspective. I think on our perspective, you're usually able to get, and through insurance, you're able to get one or another brand or mode of insulin covered. But at the challenge as these new medicines come out, whether it's Ozempic, whether it's Wegovy, and other Saxenda, these medicines can be extremely pricey, but it on a clinical side, we have to change a lot because year to year, insurances make deals and they say, well, we're not covering this, but we're covering this. So sometimes that can be very frustrating.
So I want
Okay.
to add to Dr. Covington's point that medications can be costly. Now, I worked for Eli Lilly and Company for many years, and a lot of that in terms of recouping the R&D, which is the research and development of the product, that's where in America we have a higher cost for the drug because of the pharmaceutical manufacturing trying to recoup that R&D research and development dollars that they put into developing the drug. But I do want to encourage those on the line to do a couple of things. Number one, when you are selecting your insurance during the selection time, find out the medications that you're on, what are there, that particular insurance company paying for them? Is that drug a tier 1 drug, a tier 2 drug, or a tier 3 drug? You have to educate yourself on insurance companies because there are a lot of insurance companies out there, but you have to select the one that's conducive to your health. So don't just stay with the same insurance companies, research insurance companies to see which one will pay for your medications and which ones don't have a period of time where they don't pay for any of it. Look a little bit further into that. Also, for those without insurance, there are some companies that offer programs to assist with paying for the medication. There are coupons out there, and there are other programs that are inside the manufacturer that are internal. So call the manufacturer and they can tell you what programs they have to assist you in paying for that medication.
Yeah,
Very
and I would
good.
just add two things. Just know, like anything else, the cheapest is not always the best. So sometimes, as Dr. Wyatt said, really find the one that meets your need. And then, as it relates to a lot of these new medicines that we talked about, Ozempic, Saxenda, Wegovy, these are medicines that have been proven to really assist you in weight loss. You really have to see if your insurance or your employer's insurance have waived in, I think it's the weight loss rider. And if so, that means your insurance, if necessary, would cover these medicines. So doing research is a big part of, and you can do that every year because you have to renew your insurance every year.
And also utilize the overriding process, because just because they deny it, talk to your pharmacist about the overriding, because if your doctor deem it medically necessary, then there's an override process that you can utilize to still get that medication.
Very
and a lot
good.
of
And
You all, this has been so rich. I feel like we need to have a follow-up. I know this is the second webinar in the Project Impact series, and we may in fact need to have a follow-up, or even at National Convention or something, have a check-in corner. But we need to make sure that we stay in touch, and so we're asking folks to complete the evaluations. And I know that there were a few people who had questions that we may not have been able to answer tonight, just because of the number of questions. So I will encourage you to complete the evaluation form, and to please know that you can forward any questions that you have to me at arogers@deltafoundation.net. And I will get the answers for you and send them to you. Again, my email address is arogers@deltafoundation.net. Thank you all, panelists. This has been such a wonderful, rich discussion, and I'm going to count all of you as my accountability partners. So Damien, when you see me at homecoming, I'm gonna be looking slim and trim and looking like I was, like I looked when we met 30 plus years ago. Okay.
I hear you. Look forward to it.
Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
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 Good night.
Good night.